We are very pleased to have Lorenzo Powell as our speaker today. Lorenzo V. Powell is the Fatherhood Case Manager and Division 5 Child Support Court Advocate for Powerhouse Community Development Corporation here in Columbia. Lorenzo is a native of Joliet, Illinois. He received a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology with an emphasis in sociology from Lincoln University in Jefferson City. He served in the United States Air Force as a military police officer. Lorenzo now resides in Columbia, where he serves the Columbia community as the Fatherhood Case Manager and Courtroom Advocate for Powerhouse Community Development Corporation's Fathers Committing to Families program. Lorenzo also owns and operates a more than 1 century old family farm in the Fulton area, where he raises cattle on more than 160 acres. Lorenzo is the 6th generation of his family operating this farm. Welcome, Lorenzo.
Thank you very much, Kathy. I appreciate that introduction. First, I want to say welcome and good morning to everyone here who's in attendance on this Zoom link. And I appreciate the opportunity, and Powerhouse also appreciates the opportunity to be able to present what we do in order to help serve our community. I'd like to share my screen and present to you a PowerPoint presentation on exactly what it is that Powerhouse does pertaining to the Fathers Committed to Families program that we have. So I'm going to share this screen here and begin. All right, can everyone see what I'm sharing?
Yep, that looks great. Thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. So again, like I said, I'll be presenting Fathers Committed to Family, or what we call the Fatherhood Program. And we're just going to do a really quick icebreaker. It's going to take maybe 2 to 3 minutes of our time for those who want to participate, and I'll give you the importance of this icebreaker. But if you don't mind, can we just see if we can try to unscramble this series of letters really quickly and see if we can see what particularly 3 words we can come up with out of these letters.
You're asking for any word that we find, no matter how many
Yeah,
letters, or all
that's
the letters?
well, if we can use all the letters, that'd be fine. But any word you can find, just, we're not going to take too much time of it at all. But if we can see if we can come up with any words out of these letters.
Well, I see neat and near, 2 words.
Be
Neat and near.
late.
Planet
Well,
went
maybe
into,
not. Yeah, because that would take 2 E's, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Sorry.
Planet and tier have come into the chat.
And I'll go ahead and give a small hint. It's relating to fatherhood. So,
Oh, for all the letters.
yes,
Karen?
you're close.
Okay. Parental.
There we go. That's one.
Okay. Sarah got that first.
Very good.
Paternal, I guess.
That's two.
Parental and paternal.
I should play the Jeopardy song. Prenatal is the third word. So we
Prenatal. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Well,
prenatal.
our group should have gotten that one, but
Well, I mean, 2 out of 3 is very good. That's better than I've heard. So,
very
so
good.
we have prenatal, parental, and paternal, or excuse me, paternal and parental. Okay. Now, the importance of these three words, especially with prenatal,
Yes.
I like the involvement of groups a lot of times. Can somebody just give me a reason why a father's presence is so important and monumental during the prenatal stages?
Supporting the
Oh,
mother.
Supporting the mother, yes. So, and
And
forgive me,
bonding with the child.
yes, that is another good reason. I'm sorry, my laptop is telling me that it's getting ready to die and I need to hurry up and charge it and plug
Yeah.
it up. I'm sorry about this.
Make sure you're secure. Um, I mean, there's so many areas of support. I like to think that the father wants to share the medical attention and the medical knowledge that is going on to help the mother feel more secure, and that
Okay.
someone's there on at the moment that they're needed medically.
Okay. All right. And just a little bit of a background. All the information that you'll be getting today from this presentation, particularly the facts, will be coming from the National Institutes of Health by the University of Utah. Okay. And so, yes, the things that were named with the group, and thank you very much for your participation. The father's presence during the pregnancy positively impacts the maternal and the child's health or while in the womb. Okay, an active father's involvement can also reduce the stress of the mother and potentially influences the baby's health through the entire pregnancy. Also, a little fun fact is that the father's presence in positive activities in the pregnancy can determine the child's birth weight. So, the more a mother is potentially stressed, the lower the birth weight of the child could be, or the happier and healthier a mother is, the more the birth weight of the child could be. Okay, so just a little fun fact there. So that's the importance of the prenatal. And then the paternal and the parental are pretty much self-explanatory that, the more present a father is, the more his paternal instinct kicks in as far as being able to bond with the child and have a stronger connection. And then the parental is pretty much along the same lines to being a parent, they're an active parent and a positive influence on the child. Okay, so the father's absence. So, what number of children in that live in poverty in the U.S. do we know this? And I have a array of answers to these questions, but do we want to give a good guess on what number of children live in poverty in the U.S.?
33%.
33%. Okay, that's actually very close,
I was
honestly.
thinking 40, maybe.
Okay, all right, you're
And,
pretty much right on the money.
someone else put in chat about 45.
Okay. Okay. So we're right on the money. So I'm just actually the way, just for time purposes, and so this can flow neatly, I'm just going to read all of them and then we'll go back and look at all the answers on the next slide. So, what percentage of children born in the United States are born out of wedlock? And then, what percent of African American children are born out of wedlock? What percentage of African American fathers live in the household with their families in 1960? And what percentage of African American fathers live in the household with their families today? So the answers is 16 million children are living in poverty. And that is actually right at 40% of the nation. Okay. 40% of all children born in the United States are also born out of wedlock. Out of that, 71% of the African Americans children are born out of wedlock. 91% of African American fathers actually lived in their households in 1960. Now, 27% of African American fathers live in the household with their families. So that's a huge decline, overwhelmingly in the African American society specifically, on how many fathers actually live in their households present day. Now, the reason why African Americans are the focal point right now is because, number one, we are a minority here in the nation. Here in Columbia specifically, that is the population that we commonly serve because we find that overwhelmingly that they are the ones that are most highly incarcerated and are the ones who are highly not in their family as far as their children's lives are concerned. Okay, so the focus of fatherhood. So the Responsible Fatherhood Education Project formally began in June of 2011, and it was founded and provided for the Children's Trust. All right. So as it states here, the project was designed to embrace the fathers where they are empowered. We are to empower them to improve their relationships with their children, as well as the mothers of the children. Okay. Focus on Fatherhood serves as a responsible fatherhood education project designed to increase the involvement of fathers and child development process and enhance the parenting skills of fathers so that they can assist in nurturing their children to grow into healthy, responsible adults. All right. The initial design of the project was to provide fathers with classes in two counties, Saline County and Randolph County, here in Missouri. We had 7 facilitators trained in the Quenching of the Father's Thirst curriculum. In 2012, we included the Fragile Family Fatherhood Development curriculum. The Focus on Fatherhood project evolved into a multi-county comprehensive fatherhood support and education program offered through the collaborative efforts of our parents located within 12 Missouri counties. In 2014, Missouri Division of Family Support implemented the HMRF initiative. HMRF is the Responsible Father projects are designed to provide relationships and parenting skills in addition to access programs which promote the opportunity for fathers to support their children emotionally and financially. So, Fathers Committed to Families, the program targets high-risk fathers that are from the following categories: ages 18 to 45, the custodial or the non-custodial parent, facing poverty, recent or long-term lack of employment, familiar history with legal issues or substance abuse, and then limited experiences in interacting with their children. All right, our outcomes. So we increase the father's effectiveness and improve outcomes for the children's as measured by increase in knowledge, attitudes, and behavior, reduction of the systematic barriers to fathers, improve the coordination of services offered to the father/men, increase access to services for the children's support, the child support, legal issues, medical, mental health, and employment needs, and then finally to provide a framework for understanding the role of a father. So in 2018, we have a huge presence in the Boone County court system. So in 2018, Judge Kimberly Shaw of the 13th Judicial Court decided to partner with us. She has a weekly docket that's designated specifically for fathers and mothers actually in child support court. So these are pretty much diversions. And when I say diversions, these are alternative methods in order to keep recidivism down for the previously incarcerated and give them another opportunity to get their lives right and their financial obligations in order when it comes to their child support. So according to the slide, it says Powerhouse Community Development Corporation and the 13th Court Partnership informed this was formed to provide fathers facing contempt charges, non-payment of child support, and alternative incarcerations include incentives incentive services, employment readiness, and parenting activities. This program is intended to provide fathers and mothers with services and support to enable them to successfully comply with the support orders. All right. So the diversions are we provide an alternative to jail, provide educational and skill development opportunities, provide strategies and strengthen families, provides access to employment opportunities. We also provide evaluations and access to other needs services and possibly prevent felony statuses. So to go a tad bit into depth with our presence in the courts, I and my colleague, Ms. Lori McKee, we go every Monday to the courts, as I mentioned earlier. And what we do is pretty much talk to the judges about all of our participants' activities and engagement in our program. And within our program, we assist them on how to stay on top of their child support obligations, as well as we facilitate what is called a fatherhood class. And within this class that we facilitate, it is a class that encompasses all fathers, and we have a parenting class as well that is more geared towards women. But the fatherhood specifically, we have a group of anywhere between 12 and 15 fathers that come into our classes, and we just dive into the importance of the father's presence, the father's obligation in the child's life, and just the overall importance of being a father. So commonly, especially in the newer generations, people think that being a father is just simply having children. And that is the largest misconception that we could possibly ever have. Is because we have children, that means that we're a father. No, it is so much bigger than simply having a life walking around on this earth. And so within our class, we dive into this curriculum, the aforementioned curriculum, and we dissect all of the pieces that it takes. One of my biggest sayings, and I guess best sayings that I have, is it takes a great man to be a great father. And in order to be a great father, you have to be a great man. So we start and we build from the ground surface first, and we build up. We start with how to be a good man and what that entails, and then going how to be a good father. So with our next slide, excuse me, our social benefits. Social benefits, we reduce recidivism among program participants. We increase the ability for parents to become productive members of the community and the workforce. We reduce harm to the families otherwise caught in the revolving cycle of jail. And then we also reduce the negative social stigma normally associated with being children of incarcerated parents. So this slide is so important and imperative to really take a deep look at it about being able to reduce the reoccurring incarceration of males, and particularly because of child support. So our goal is that if we can ultimately reinvent the wheel, I guess, for a lack of better terms, on how important it is for this father to understand that, yes, I do have an obligation. The obligation is my child. And also, because my child has needs and I have a obligation to the court, I need to pay my child support. And with that, that will ultimately keep me from going to jail, because if I'm in jail, what good am I to anybody else? None whatsoever. Okay. We also have services here, Powerhouse, and it's the role of the case managers to help them find jobs and utilize resources here in the community. So we like to partner commonly with other service providers such as Compass or Burrell or Interaction or the Rock, and just, a plethora of other organizations that could help these people who are repeat offenders or current felons or past felons to try to find gainful employment. And this is all a part of the benefits of being with Powerhouse in the fatherhood program. We also reduce harm to the family. When people hear the word harm, they think in the physical aspect. Well, excuse me, harm could also be emotional as well. When the father is absent from the child's life, this does a significant amount of harm to the child. The child commonly has to face scrutiny from his or her peers because this peer might be growing up in a two-parent household, whereas this father is absent because of incarceration. So we like to try to reduce the harm to the family, any further harm, by further teaching the fathers how important it is to be a father and to maintain your freedom and to maintain your obligation to your child. So we want to ingrain that heavily on our participants on how to be a present father. And then also the negative social stigmas that are normally associated with the incarcerated parent. It's just all type of negative gossip and negative, just God knows. And we just want to go ahead and build a more positive world just overall. And specifically, we're starting at home, a more positive community, and then a positive nation and positive world. Okay, moving forward. Financial benefits. So we reduced the county jail and the Missouri Department of Corrections population by our program. When, like I said earlier in the previous slide, the more that we try to ingrain in fathers to maintain your freedom, the less people are that are going into the jails, into the prisons, especially due to child support. All right. Reduce long-term effects of minors, nonviolent offenses, reduce cost associated with rearrests, reduce costs associated with the initial contact of the criminal system. I mean, think about how many thousands of dollars that people or the city of Columbia has to pay in order to have representation for the incarcerated individual. Let's say that this person doesn't have a job and doesn't have any money to be able to provide for any type of legal counsel. Therefore, legal counsel is provided through an application. Well, that costs money. And our taxpaying, even though we as generous people, well, we don't mind helping out a fellow brother or sister, but still yet it's a cost associated with it. So if we can stop and minimize that costs, then we can ultimately reallocate those funds into something better as far as helping the community, versus helping them in the legal system. All right, so the negative cycle, or excuse me, fatherless homes creating a negative cycle. 19.5 million children in America live apart from their fathers. More than 1 in 4 live without their fathers. Boys who grow up without fathers are more likely to become unmarried fathers themselves at a young age and perpetuating the cycle of absentee fatherhood. Girls growing up without fathers are more likely to fall victim to early sexual involvement and teenage pregnancies, perpetuating the cycle of single parenthood. And again, this information is coming from the National Institute of Health and the University of Utah. All right. So children from fatherless homes are 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 32 times more likely to run away, 20 times more likely to have behavioral disorders, 14 times more likely to commit rape, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances, 9 times more likely to end up in state-operated institutions, jails or prisons, and then 20 times more likely to end up in prison. What is responsible fatherhood education program? So, excuse me, a responsible fatherhood education program is one that focuses on giving fathers the knowledge and skills to better understand their social, cultural, economic, legal, and developmental impacts on their children. Moreover, the program teaches fathers healthy relationship skills and encourages them to voluntarily assume personal responsibilities for their past, current, and future attitudes and behaviors. Responsible fatherhood makes a difference for children: emotional security, curiosity, and enhanced math and verbal skills. Fewer behavioral problems, higher levels of sociability, improved school performances, and reduced involvement with criminal justice systems. Higher school grades, greater school enjoyment, and lower chances of suspension, expulsion, and dropping out of school. Girls with a positive father/daughter relationship do better academically and are less likely to engage in early sexual involvement and in school and alcohol and drugs. Our program consists of 60 hours of educational training and applications. Life skills is equivalents of 12 hours. Health and relationships is 24 hours of education. Employment is 12 hours and parenting is 12 hours as well. And all this is done with the case managers that these individuals are assigned to. So if for me, I have a caseload of roughly 30 individuals. And within that, if I'm not facilitating it, one of my colleagues would be facilitating time, 12 hours worth of life skills if they do not have them, 24 hours of health and relationships, and then 12 hours of spending time looking for employment, and then 12 hours of parenting skills. All right. So these are some of the needs and the services that we do. We do recovery support, education, housing, parenting skills, family support, and counseling. And our counseling is available to our peers Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then also, if there's emergency needs, our counseling is available via Zoom or telephone call. We always have a counselor readily available for emergency reasoning. Excuse me. Excuse me. So the staffing consists of our director, who is Charles Stevenson. We have a therapist, who is Tim Fugit, facilitators, and we have a various numbers of facilitators as well as case managers. Case coordinator is our Ms. Lori McKee, excuse me. We have a counselor as well, and then a community employment representative who was Erica Buford, and I believe that she has since stepped down, and we have somebody else in the interim, but I don't know who that is, so forgive me. All right, and these are the program services that we have provided. If and all this can be emailed and sent to you, David, for any further information if you have any further questions on the services and supportive services that we have. All right, in our curriculums, as I spoke to you about earlier, we just to name a couple of them, we have a employment readiness program, our fatherhood program, which is not on here, strong parent and stable children's program, and anger management as well. I also facilitate that as well. So our program stages that we typically, in order to get somebody in here, we have a referral process. So if you know anybody who is interested or in need of our services, you would fill out a referral for them. They will come to us and we'll do a formal intake where we do a series of questions that hopefully they will truthfully answer. And then we'll also do an assessment. From there, we will see where they fall in and the needs that need most attention. We'll then go to orientation, letting them know the expectations and the amenities that are provided to them and the benefits. Then they will be assigned to classes and counseling. And then again, they'll go through the various steps of employment readiness, employment, and then aftercare. And then a lot of our programs have graduation dates. So specifically, the fatherhood program is a 12-week course. And then after the 12 weeks, uh, biannually, we have a graduation. And that's where the judge of the 13th Circuit, Judge Kimberly Shaw, is in attendance. All of the staff members here at Powerhouse, the individuals' peers that were in class with them are also going to be there. We welcome and open it up to the community to where their loved ones can come in. We'll have refreshments and a little opening ceremony. And then that's when we will present them with their certificates of completion as well. And then once they're done after graduation, they're also open to aftercare, and they can come in and still utilize any of our services or speak to anybody as far as the case managers or the counselors or therapists after their completion of their classes. Excuse me. All right, and this is also going over the referral process. And that is my presentation. So I appreciate you all for the opportunity to share this with you. And if I'm going to open up the floor now for any questions that anybody might have.
Okay, are you okay for calling on people, or would you like my help with that?
If you don't mind helping with that, that'd
Okay.
be awesome.
We like to take note of any people from the press or current candidates or current office holders. And I do see a current candidate, Becky Brewer, running for a local state rep here. So welcome to
Thank
Becky,
you.
and I hope some of our other candidates and others will see the online thing. Let's see. Now, show me again the hands, questions. It looks like Pam has a question for you.
I'd like to know if you get federal funds or did.
Yes, ma'am. We do get both federal and state funds.
Has your federal funds been withdrawn?
No, ma'am, they have not, thank God.
No. And how many clients do you have?
Oh, in the fatherhood program or in
Yes,
Powerhouse?
in the fatherhood program.
Oh, 33, I believe. Is that correct? Or 20, 33. Yes, 33 clients we have so far.
Do they need to be Black?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, not at all.
Okay,
As a matter of fact, I would say it's right at about 50% of
is
my
it?
clients, yes, ma'am, are black
Okay.
and white.
Well, it sounds like you have a wonderful program.
Well, thank you. I
I
appreciate it.
commend you.
Yes, ma'am.
My comment was that this information is overwhelming, particularly as to the importance of what you're doing. And then when we start thinking about it, the complexities involved. 30 doesn't seem like a lot, but I suppose the 30 that you have right now are getting a pretty intensive program, and that takes a lot of time of your experts and your teachers.
Yes, yes, yes. And I do want to go ahead and put out there that that was just for Boone County. We're in 5 different counties. So
Wow.
Randolph, Saline, Boone. I think we're getting ready to enter into Callaway, uh, Pettis County, and the last county is escaping me, but I do know that we're in 5 different counties. But yes, they get a vast amount of information, the curriculum that we cover. We take our time with it. However, we give them a lot, and then again, the benefits of it is just immense for the simple fact that they have the I guess the right to our advocacy. We go to the courts with them and for them and inform the judges that, hey, this individual is on the right track. This individual is now gainfully employed. Though he's not meeting his full monthly obligation, he is also meeting a obligation, whereas he might owe $100 a month and he's only able to pay 20. That says a lot to the judges that, hey, I have somebody here and he has an advocate that is saying that he is really working hard and trying to struggle. So that puts something on the judge's heart to not be as punitive on the individual. So,
Yes, the judges have very little time to get the information they need, and so they really appreciate you having those details for them, I'm sure.
most definitely, most definitely. And, like you said, it is very overwhelming, but it is very, very, very beneficial towards those that are participants in our programs.
Marie has her hand up, I believe.
Yeah, hi.
Marie Scala.
Hello.
I am really impressed by this program and delighted that it exists. I volunteer at the Booneville prison with men who are preparing to come back out into the outside world. And many of them express as their one of the great things they're most concerned about is reestablishing relationship with their children. And um, they're concerned, many of them are concerned about this backlog of child support that they've accrued. How does your program serve any of those guys? And if so, and are there other ways, if not, are there other ways they can access some of this programming that they need so much?
So yes,
Many
ma'am.
of them have never had a father relationship. They may have had an uncle or a grandpa, um, but some of them haven't even had that, and it's really hard to be a father when you've never had one.
That is a very true statement. Yes, ma'am. So to answer your first question, we do most definitely serve the incarcerated population, but only after they are released, uh, providing that that's the forecast that they're going to be released. We have a very close working relationship with probation and parole, and what they do is they do a lot of referrals to us, to those that are getting out. And once they do get out, they have an obligation to meet. They are going to stay in our program. And with that, we will report back to the probation parole officers on a weekly basis saying, hey, this individual is doing very well, or this individual is struggling, and we may need to revisit just a little bit of, some reassuring and reinforcement on, hey, look, we got to get this person lined back out and refocused. So yes, we do serve them as well.
Let me ask a kind of follow-up question on that. I'm kind of surprised and almost disappointed that you gave the number 30 some odd. But now I understand that those are the people who are full in. Are there a whole lot of people involved in uptake or follow-up later, or are there resources made available to people like Marie? What is your outreach? Aside from those really intensive clients that you're able to serve so well?
So Powerhouse, we are small in numbers but mighty. So what we do is a monthly Unity in the Community meeting. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or are familiar
I
with
think I
it.
have, yeah.
And what that is pretty much a coalition of all of the service providers in the city
Yes.
of Columbia. We
Yes.
come together and we pretty much network and tell each other what it is that we're doing, what's new or what's maintaining or what we may have gotten rid of within our programs, but how we're implementing something new. Also, outreach is pretty much what we're doing right here. Many of us go to different organizations and present exactly what it is that we're doing in whatever entity Powerhouse is working in. So that's the basis of our outreach. Now, we are always open to more invitations to other things that others might know of, to where we can continue to get the word out about our fatherhood program.
Mhm. I'm just surprised that this fatherhood program is so intensive for those few clients. And I suppose finding the people who are going to be successful in the program is a big issue too. You don't just let anybody in. The uptake is going to be pretty demanding, I would think, the
So
process.
we have voluntary fathers that just want to pretty much refine their fathering skills. So you can also be a volunteer participant as well. You don't necessarily have to be on hardship or anything like that. If I were not in a case manager's position, and this is an honest statement I'm getting ready to make, I would most definitely take these father parenting
Yeah.
classes, these fatherhood classes. So it is open to anybody.
Okay. Okay. Kathy. Kathy?
Yes, sorry. Um, I was going to ask if you know how many children totally are involved with the 30 parents that the 30 some parents that, or fathers that you're involved with. Do you know total what the number of children is? And do you have any stories about what's been happening in relationships with the children?
Okay. So to answer your question, your first question directly about the total number of children, I do not know because many of the fathers that we service have multiple kids. One particular father has 10 children. And so commonly what I hear is that there is a strained relationship between the father and the mother of the child,
Yeah.
therefore hindering the father to be able to engage with the child.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is a common story that I
Of
hear.
course.
Um, Other instances that we have are fathers that have been recently incarcerated or fathers that have struggled with homelessness or unemployment, therefore not being able to have full custody of their children. And the children are now wards of the state. And now these fathers are trying to get back with their children. I have one particular father that has just recently overcame substance abuse and he fought the courts after taking his substance abuse classes, also taking the fatherhood course, and he petitioned the court saying, "Hey, look, I have pretty much redeemed myself as a father. Therefore, I would like to have custody of my children back." And after 6 long months of trying to redeem himself and prove his worthiness of having guardianship of his children, he was granted guardianship of his children. So he had reunification with all four of his children, he and his wife, and now they're living and trying to get back to a normal life after his battle with substance abuse. I have a individual that's currently facing homelessness and his children are in the foster system. And he is he has a very, very, very sensitive and unique situation. Um, he had 7 years ago had a drinking issue, and he's married, and also his wife had a drinking issue. Well, he became sober, and his wife remained struggling with the alcoholism. Well, he is one that is taking his vows very passionately to death do us part, sickness and health, richer or poorer. And he has, through his sobriety, he has had to make the absolute toughest decision on whether or not to stick in there with his wife as a husband or to regain unification with his children. And that is tearing him apart every single day to choose between his wife or his children. So, I mean, that is probably one of the biggest heartfelt stories that I um have heard. But yeah, those are just I hope that answered your question without going off on too much of a tangent and rant. But yeah.
I know there's confidentiality in all these things too, but these two stories remind us of what's at stake, how big these issues, and other people would say impossible, and yet you're doing the work. I believe Wynn has had her hand up. Can you?
Thank you. May have missed this earlier, but I wanted to ask how many people are actually doing the counseling and advising these
Okay.
30 people.
Staff
So
members. Yeah.
So staff members. So again, we're in 5 different locations. So here at the Columbia location, we have 15 people staff-wise on hand that do counseling, case managing, case coordinating, and things of that nature. So we have 15 people at the Columbia location. Now, I've only been here for a year in this position. However, so I don't know all the numbers at the other locations, but I know here in Columbia we have roughly 15 people on staff here.
All right. Thank you.
Let's see. It looks like Marie has another question.
Now, I just have a follow-up question to that. I think to those of us who don't work in the system, it's kind of hard to distinguish between case management and then the broader offering of services. So if I just want to clarify if I'm understanding you that there are 30 some clients who are receiving full-blown case management because of the relationship with the court. Is that right?
No,
Because
ma'am.
they, oh, okay. Okay.
So
So can you help me understand that?
yes, ma'am. And my apologies for making that a little gray. However, that's just the fatherhood numbers. So yeah, so and fatherhood is not strictly a court-related thing. Like I said to David earlier, that if any individual decided that they want to walk in, if they have full-time employment and everything else, that they're still eligible for our services. So that 30 was just strictly those that are engaged with fatherhood. Now, fatherhood has, I mean, not father, excuse me, Powerhouse has more programs than just the fatherhood. We give away food boxes to those that are in need on a daily basis, from the hours of 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we service maybe 100 to 150 individuals daily on giving them food boxes. These are non-perishable items typically. And then sometimes we might have fresh produce during the spring and summer seasons, heads of cabbage, lettuce, fresh tomatoes, strawberries, and things like that that we have donated to us that we'll give away. And also we have frozen meat that we give away to those that are able to take it because many of these people that get the food boxes are homeless, so don't have the, ability to store food properly. So, but yeah, we have many other programs.
So your
And
staff
when
of
you referred
15.
to the 15 people,
Yeah.
you're talking about all of that, right?
So 15 staff members.
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am. So we have a
Okay.
couple of
Got it.
receptionists that do the food boxes up front. We have a kitchen crew that pretty much handle the food and bring it at our request. So that's with the food. A couple other services that we provide is a heat program, and that's heat is it stands for Habilitation, Empowerment, Accountability, and Therapy. And just this shows what the booklet looks like, and it's pretty thick. And this is a program that is 36 weeks long that one of our facilitators um, uh, gives multiple times throughout the year. And we also have a conflict resolution or an anger management class that I
Yes.
facilitate.
Yes.
We have parenting class, It's a lot of programs that we offer here, and it's just depending on what the individual's need is how we cater to it and what we offer.
Yeah, that's very important. We were trying to imagine if all of Powerhouse was doing this fatherhood program and there were 30 people full in that, it was a little more intense than management, but you're actually doing a lot of things. And today you wanted to specifically um, uh, the fatherhood program, and I think for good reason.
Yes.
Um, I was wondering, since you live in Fulton and since you're somewhat aware of all these other counties, do you see big differences in this situation if it's a rural setting? Or, sometimes we don't understand the problems of our rural areas as much as we should. We think of everything as, just right here in Columbia. Are there issues of differences that you want to talk about here? Sounds like you might have some experience of these.
Most definitely. And after I answer this, I see we have a couple of questions in the inbox as well from Sarah
Uh-huh.
and from Dave as well.
Yeah.
Or I
Okay.
guess is that you, the host?
No, I think our IT specialist, Dave,
Okay.
probably.
So, but excuse me. Yes, 100%. We have huge differences, almost polar differences in the different types of barriers that are faced versus here in the inner city versus the rural. Um, and subsequently, I just frankly putting it, different drugs that are easily
No.
accessible. So in the rural areas, you see that methamphetamine is one of the number one culprits of the drug use and drug abuse in the rural areas. Now, that's not to say that it's not present here in the inner city, but commonly you see that being more used in the rural areas. Now, coming back to the city, you see more homelessness than in the rural area.
Right.
So, it's kind of almost overwhelming how many homeless people are coming to Powerhouse's doors just trying to receive some type of service or assistance. Whereas if you go to the rural cities, those individuals kind of have more of though they still have the drug abuse history, they still have more of a family unit to where they can sleep on grandma's couch or something like that. Whereas here in the city, you don't see that much. You don't see the family unit and you just see more individuals just kind of roaming on the streets. Um, uh, it's a difference to answer your question just
Yeah.
directly, and it's many different facets on how the differences are.
And obviously, the ethnic composition is different. We do have a good population of Black people here, and 20% or more. I was surprised it was that high, whereas there are smaller pockets of Black or brown populations out in our counties nearby. So that would have
Yes.
some differences. Let me do Sarah's question, unless she wants to do it herself. It looks like it's structured so everyone can read along, or I'll say it. Sarah says, my question is philosophical. If 90 plus of African American fathers were in their homes in 1960, what changed in our society that caused those families to break up? I realize likely a variety of things, all rooted in societal racism, but what practical things changed, and could we as a culture commit to changing them back? I'm guessing two factors might be the higher rates of incarceration and the rising social acceptability of divorce, and maybe harsh economic pressures make it disadvantageous to set up a nuclear household these days, more disadvantageous. I'll just add that I think it was the Moynihan report came out in the early 60s, and it was very controversial talking about Black parenthood, particularly fatherhood, and yet there were so many of them then compared to now living in the home. So these broad questions that Sarah brings up, I guess she's looking for someone with some experience and looks like Marie might want to add to this question. Do you want
Yeah,
to?
I sure would. I don't think we should overlook the destructive effect of the way the welfare laws were
Thank
structured
you.
in
Thank
the
you.
early 60s, which
Oh, okay.
basically forbade men to be in a
Right.
household if it
That's
was
right.
Yes.
receiving any
Yes.
assistance. So I'm
Yes.
sure you can say more about that, Lorenzo, but I didn't want us to.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, and I also have my colleagues here sitting next to me, and she was going to say the exact same thing. So exactly what Miss Sarah said, that welfare had implemented such structural divisiveness within its program to where if the mother was receiving any type of help at all from the father in the 60s and the 70s, then they were completely cut off the means of being of social aid, I guess, or communal aid. Excuse me.
Including housing.
Up into including housing as well. Furthermore, going back to this question that was outlined, she asked, I'm sorry, let me go back to the question in the inbox. What caused the families to break up? And,
Yeah.
we can go down this path for years and years and years, but to try to be very concise with it, the epidemic in the major cities is what really broke up a lot of households as well. It was introduced to the United States in the early 70s and just really took off in the 90s.
90s, yeah.
So in the 1990s, when crack really became prevalent and so easily accessible, it was particularly in the African American communities, that was a number, not if not number one, number two destructor of the African American homes. Um, it's so many systemic and racial barriers that have taken place in the destruction of the African American household. But, being conscious of time and, the topic, whatever, I would say that those are the two biggest things that have broken apart the African American family is the welfare stipulations as well as the crack epidemic in the African American society and
Uh,
mass incarceration as well.
Another question from Dave. He's wondering if your organization is involved in the Thanksgiving, what used to be called Everybody Eats program. We've been hearing a lot about organizations get together to do this a little different than Almeda Creighton had done it a decade ago. And of course, people have been hit hard in their food service and help this past month or two. So any words on what Powerhouse is doing or just going
Yes.
along with others?
So tomorrow, open to the public, we are serving boxes of Thanksgiving boxes that encompass dry goods, green beans, corn, stuffing boxes, a frozen turkey, cranberry sauce, pretty much a traditional Thanksgiving meal in a box. And we serve upwards to 2,000 people each year. And we will be starting to serve at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. People will start lining up in their vehicles as early as 7 in the morning. I
And
didn't believe
they're getting the thing to make their own meal at home
that's correct, yes.
from
So
your
that's tomorrow. But on
yeah.
Thanksgiving Day, Powerhouse will be partnering with Fifth Street Church on the corner of Fifth and Wall, Fifth Street Church. I'm going to leave it at
Yeah.
that. And they will be preparing a Thanksgiving meal for everybody. That's for the community of Columbia.
That's
So
great.
that's what will be taking place for Thanksgiving.
Okay. Well, we've heard other organizations mention that same effort there. So all the
Well,
best. Yes,
David, Powerhouse is is the organization that's carrying on Almeda Creighton's tradition. She,
I see.
she was the one that started the everybody eats, and Powerhouse has been carrying this on for the past 5 years. First, it was Almeda, and after she passed away, then her nephew, I believe,
Right.
and after he passed, then Powerhouse took it over and has been sponsoring it and organizing it for the past 5 years. And on their sign up Genius, which you could find on their website, they are still needing some volunteers for food preparation and serving the meal and cleaning up, etc.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm going to make sure that they put your check in the mail too.
Well, not all of us can do these things. I have to be in Indiana with my family for Thanksgiving Day, but a lot of people are looking for these opportunities. We want to be able to point out to them that, yes, our community has this going on. They'll welcome you as part of their work there if you follow the directions. And Powerhouse website has just been dropped into our chat. Probably pretty easy. Powerhouse in Columbia probably would be a good way to Google it too for anybody who needs that information. Do we have a final question for our guests from anybody? Okay, seeing none, I think you kind of left us with this, huge topic of fatherhood to think about a lot. And I think the thing that struck me the most was not only what it does for the child. We hear about that a lot, the future, our children, and the absent parent, the absent father, but what it can also do for the man, the man who has had trouble in with addiction or the legal system or poverty or whatever, even homelessness, what reconnecting with the children can do to build up a life there too, through the help that you all are they don't get that magically just by getting together with the child. They need to have a lot of help to prepare for that. It goes on forever, I guess. That's why you want to attend it yourself. It goes on
Exactly.
forever. So that's the big message I hadn't thought about, that two-way power going there that your presentation gave me today. And I thank you for it. If you have any final words for us, anything more we can do, you've certainly given us some suggestions. Just pay attention, and as you said, refer people. If we
Yes.
have someone coming to us with problems or ideas, the public can refer to you as well.
Yes, yes, most definitely. The final statements, I just thank you very much to the Muleskinners. I mean, this has been a great opportunity for us just to do further outreach and just get out the information that of the services that we offer. Me and specifically my colleague, Ms. Lori, she does a diligent job in trying to promote our program and to really just stress to the public on how important it is this fatherhood program is. And I concur with that 100%, that it is important for us to try to break down these barriers that we have and to rebuild a better generation, because the way things look present day, whatever, is not so bright at all. And it starts at home and within. And if we can just help one person and just beg and plead that they help the following person, we can make this world better, and it starts with it's fathers are so important. Fathers are so important. So I just thank you again. And I hope that if you know of anybody that can use our services, please refer them and they will be in good hands. This is a one-stop shop, as our CEO likes to say, so you can get many different benefits here. And we'll welcome you with a warm smile and a firm handshake, and might even send you home with some food. So
Yeah. Oh, you've got it all. Thank you for giving us these details. We've heard Powerhouse mentioned in several others' presentations, and now we've heard from you a lot more about what's going on there. Did you have oh, Maria's clapping. I think it's time to thank our guests. Thank you.
no, thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Pam.
Okay.